I didn't even get to say anything and they already left. Well, good morning, London. Who's excited for Wi-Fi Design Day? So I thought I was the most excited person for Wi-Fi Design Day, but it turns out the guy that came in at 5 o'clock in the morning to the hotel and set off the fire alarm was clearly the most excited person for Wi-Fi Design Day, caused a whole hotel evacuation. So that was one way to start Wi-Fi Design Day that I hadn't expected. So thank you so much for coming. What I love about Wi-Fi Design Day, like this is, you're going to get sent a survey after the event and you'll be asked to give some feedback. I love looking at the feedback from previous year's events, like you give such good feedback and stuff like that. But from last year's event, there was one bit of feedback that really resonated with me. So last year, I was going through the feedback and I looked at this one in particular that said, make sure the laptop works before starting. So if you were here last year, and I know this is causing the AV team some PTSD as well, because like me, but 7 minutes it took before we could get my slides up on the screen to start presenting to you. So we had to have some impromptu back and forth whilst we got that figured out. So this year, clearly it's working, but I prepared some material and I thought it's too good to not share with you. So first of all, I was gonna tell you a joke about UDP, but you probably wouldn't get it. Oh, sorry. What was that? Stick to TCP because I keep saying it until you get it. All right. Okay. So we're kind of separating the real techies from the techies now with some of these jokes. Okay. All right. For a non-technical person, did you hear about the drunk British tourist called Alan, who got a map of Italy tattooed on his chest? Apparently now he has really sore Naples. Yeah, okay, fine, all right. Final one. If Forrest Gump had a Wi-Fi network, what would be his pre-shed key? One, Forrest, one. All right, fine. Okay, I'm going to get on with it. I know you don't like it, but I'm just showing you that I'm always prepared for material in case we need it. So just so I can see from this perspective, who here is this your first Wi-Fi Design Day? Wow, that is so many hands. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to come and be with us. I know you're going to have a fantastic day. However, I do know there's a few in the audience that this is not just your first Wi-Fi Design Day, this is your first time to the UK and London as well. So who in the audience? I know Dennis, Eva, RT, anyone else travelled? Yeah? So I know what it's like when you come to these kind of events. You go from the airport, you go to the venue, you're at the event, and then you sometimes go home. And what I was worried is that some of these people, they wouldn't get to see some of the iconic landmarks, some of our famous attractions in London. So I wanted to show you, this is a local bus. In case you're not getting it, that's a local IP address, just in case there's non-technical people in the room. So that's a local bus. Here's a local taxi, in case you haven't seen it. But what's the best way to get around London? It's the underground, of course. So here's the underground, but I wouldn't recommend getting on this one, actually, because it seems to keep looping back on itself for some reason. Okay, again, this is for the real techies in the room. If you're not familiar with it, that's a loop back IP address, gone from local. Okay, I can see some of you are like cringing a bit too much. So if we haven't met before, I'm Matt. I'm a part-time comedian, full-time product marketer at Ekahau. If we haven't met, you can stay connected to me on LinkedIn if you want to. But this isn't my first Wi-Fi Design Day. My first Wi-Fi Design Day was the very first Wi-Fi Design Day back in 2017 in the Churchill War Rooms. And I was looking back at the archives and I found, look at this young guy. Mr. Peter Mackenzie, back there, the first time I saw him present. Next year, 2018, at the Barbican Centre, I was there again. This time I went from just attendee. They saw me and went, clearly, he should be on camera. So I was on the highlight reel for this one. But we had some fantastic presenters back in 2018. Mr. Keith Parsons was there. Mr. Stephen Heinzus was there. First time back since 2018. Fantastic. And of course, my good friend and buddy, Dobius. I don't know what's going on here. This is your presentation, by the way, the little love heart between you and Stephen. I'm sure you can explain that at some point. But what I love about Wi-Fi Design Day is that you've seen from the agenda, we have a great mix of distinguished, experienced, fantastic speakers, and then we have Alan. And we have a load of first-time speakers that we're given opportunities to today to come and present. So if you're sitting in the crowd and you think, oh, one day I wish I would be up there presenting, please reach out to us, because that was me. I remember sitting in the Bargain Centre in 2018 going, wow, these guys are so good technically, but also can present so well. I would love to be up on stage one day presenting like them. If I can do it, you guys and girls can certainly do it too. In 2019, this is when Wi-Fi Design Day gave me one of my first opportunities to present. So this was when I was a speaker and I presented at Wi-Fi Design Day over in Birmingham. 2020, I was presenting again, but this was virtual. I'm sure we all know why it was virtual in 2020. 2021, this was a special year, because this was actually the first year that me and Mac were not just at Wi-Fi Design Day, but we were hosting it as employees of Ekahau. 2022, we had to push it out a bit because there was a tube strike, and we was like, you know what, we're going to go from the winter to the spring, and that's why there's no 2022, but here's 2023 back in, I think again, might have been Bargain Centre, or no, the National History Museum or something like that, I think. British Museum, thanks for correcting me when I'm wrong, Joe, like always. And then 2024, we was over the road in Euston Square. That was a great venue, but actually 2025, we was here, and this is the first time that we've returned back to a venue after being there the previous year before. I loved last year, apart from one thing. And yeah, you're laughing. We'll see who's laughing at the end of the day, Peter and Alan, because I haven't forgotten who put me in a wig just before the drinks reception, messing up my hair. I was not pleased about that. But why have I given you like a little bit of a history and timeline of Wi-Fi Design Days in the past? Because again, the feedback that someone gave last year, it'd be so great if we could have patches or stickers from each year. And I want to say a big shout out to Sam, because you would have all got a 2026 Wi-Fi Design badge as you walked in. If you've ever been to a Wi-Fi Design Day before, head over to the Open Reality booth. Sam has prepared packages for every single one of you, or every years that you've attended in the past, you're going to get a pin for that. And if this is your 5th, or you've been to 5 or more, you're going to get a nice silver Wi-Fi Design Day badge that you can keep forever. And next year is going to be our 10-year anniversary, which will be gold. So lots of things to look forward to there as well. Oh, that was the badge screen. We do encourage you to post about Wi-Fi Design Day. We're going to have a photo booth out there later on. We're going to have whatever, you can just take pictures and stuff like that. Feel free to post it. Just please use the hashtag Wi-Fi Design Day and tag Ekahau and Open Reality. We are going to be giving away some hoodies. I'm sorry, Amber and Patrick, you know I go a little bit rogue with the swag sometimes. Every time I wear this hoodie, I'm like, wow, I love these. How do I get one? I said, okay, fine. For you guys and girls, we're going to get some. Every break, we're going to give away a few, but you need to be back in the room to collect it. So make sure you're back in on time, please. And like Joe said earlier, Open Reality being kind enough to give away an ECSE seat for any course you want to take. So if you've got a design already, you want to take troubleshooting or advanced, no problem at all, go for that. So for my post, I need your help. If you've been to Wi-Fi Design Day before, you know I like to get all of you involved. So I'm going to ask a favor for all of you, please. If you wouldn't mind standing up. So I need everyone in the audience to stand up, please. Don't groan. It's not as bad as the bad jokes, I promise. And then after 3, I just want you to clap, cheer, go crazy, and I'm going to get it on video. We all ready? Okay, 1, 2, 3. Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much. My first standing ovation, Wi-Fi Design Day. Hey, listen, everyone on social media is going to believe that, so don't you go and tell them, because they will believe that. Thank you very much. So my presentation agenda for today, actually, it's not really just about my presentation. I'm calling this the 3 I's, so innovation, inspiration, and ideas. So this could be something you can get from my presentation, from Dobius, from Keith, from Eva, from Ella, from Vasilios, anyone from their presentation, or it can be from a conversation that you have later on during one of the breaks, one of the drinks receptions, whatever. We want you just to take something from today that is going to inspire you to innovate, or an idea that you can take back to your job. The main thing, the whole point, the reason why we put on Wi-Fi Design Day is because we want you to have a good time. We want you to have a good time, and like we know, like you get a good day out here. This is for you. Some people can't contain it. It's not compulsory. Just don't go too close to Alan, because this might happen when the music comes on. But we want you to have a good time and have a great time at Wi-Fi Design Day. So you know what? I thought, how can if I'm talking about ideas, innovation, and inspiration, how can I tie it back from my career and using Ekahau to talk to you a little bit about a story about how this is how made me feel. And I want to talk to you about AP on a stick surveys. A lot of you in the room, I'm sure you know what an AP on a stick site survey is, but for the non-technical people in the room, what an AP on a stick site survey is when maybe you've got a bit of a tricky environment and you want to really make sure the coverage that you're planning for the access point or antenna that you're going to use is going to meet those requirements that you're planning for. So what you do is you get your access point, you get the antenna that you're planning to deploy, you stick it on a tripod, you have a battery pack, you configure it to broadcast, and then what you do is you walk around your real environment and you walk to two different thresholds. The green is where you know you're going to have good Wi-Fi. The grey is going to be where you know that you're going to have a contention on the same channel. So you walk around and you collect this data. And when I used to work for Block Solutions, I used to do AP on a stick site surveys 4 or 5 days a week, 8 hours a day. If you want to see what it actually looks like, on the left you can see that's Mac with the tripod all set up there and the antenna was in a warehouse there, but I was doing lots and lots of hospitals. If you're wondering where you've seen that haircut before, he got his inspiration from here. The thing is about doing an AP on a stick site survey is that you've got your equipment. So you've got your equipment and you've got your whatever you're using to collect the data, you've got your measurement device, you've got the tripod. If you're in a situation like this where you've got our good friend Newt on the left carrying the tripod, you've got me on the right carrying the equipment, and the guy in the middle is as useful as a chocolate teapot, not doing anything as usual, it's very difficult to maneuver around these environments because you're carrying your stuff, you've got the tripod, you've got to move it around, you've got to get through doors. It's quite difficult. And I was doing AP on a stick site surveys non-stop, all day, every day. And I'm really old now, guys. I've been in Wi-Fi for nearly 2 decades. You don't believe, someone should have said you don't look old enough, you don't believe it. Come on. I know these grey hairs are bad now, but yeah, I've been in Wi-Fi for nearly 2 decades. And why I'm saying that is because this was my very technical drawing that I come up with, because back then we didn't actually have any of these fancy AP on a stick on wheels stuff. We didn't have sidekicks, and we didn't have a mobile device that we could collect data with. I was using a laptop. So I was using a laptop to carry around all of these dongles sticking out, picking up a tripod, moving it around by myself. It was really difficult. So I come up with this innovative, inspirational idea, very technical drawing. I'm going to get this board with wheels. I'm going to drill the pole into it. I'm going to ask someone to drill the pole into the board. Everyone knows I'm not very DIY. Fine, you got me. And then what I can do is I can just pull it around me where I go. And that was my idea. And this is bringing it to life. So 2016, in the Block Solutions offices, here's the AP on a stick on wheels that we brought to life. I was so proud of myself. I was like, wow, this is such a good idea. It's making my life easier as a Wi-Fi engineer maneuvering around. Did we take it places with us? Of course we did. This is in a shopping center, on a construction site. And this is another Matt you're going to see later on today, Matt Smith, who works for Natinic now. We used to work together at Block Solutions. This was us in a hospital where he's doing a theatre room. Clearly, I always was going to make my way into marketing. We're coming up with a real catchy caption there, so pretty fly for a Wi-Fi, very original, I know. And then in offices as well. And if you're wondering, like, what is that thing that Matt is like walking around with? Well, back in the day, when we used to do Wi-Fi surveys, is we was using a laptop, and the laptop was also having its power drawn by the dongles. So you used to go for like the biggest, most powerful laptop you could have with the biggest battery, so it lasted a long time. The thing is about that though is like it's heavy carrying around a laptop and all of these dongles trying to maneuver in and around doors and people and whatever. So we got this thing called a connector desk harness, so you could put the laptop on top of it, it would take the weight for you, you stick these dongles in. Shout out to Joe Chorley for the pictures. If you're wondering who this guy is, I know he looks nothing like his LinkedIn picture. I've never seen him look this smart before in my life. It's a catfish picture if I've ever seen one. But me and Matt, we used to do so many surveys, and one of the typical types of environments we're doing surveys in would be a financial kind of like institution in central London. So one of these buildings where finance people work. And what do you get in those kind of places? You get finance bros that think they're very funny, very original, very creative, and you look super cool when you're walking around with your laptop, your harness, your dongles, and they get very inquisitive and curious. And they think they're original, so you walk around, always, guaranteed, Matt, are you ghostbusting? Well, what's that guy over there ghostbusting? I get that all the time when we was walking around. But my favorite one that I still remember clearly to this day, I was doing a survey of a shopping center. I had the harness on, I had the dongles, etc., walking around. I finished my survey, and in the shopping center, Wi-Fi is crazy. So there's just the shopping center's Wi-Fi, all of the shops' Wi-Fi, all of the concessions' Wi-Fi, maximum transit power, wide channels. And I'm there, I'm like, looking at the data, and I'm thinking, no wonder it doesn't work in here. The CCI is really bad. And next thing, I feel like a little tap on my shoulder. So I turn around and I see this little old lady. She's got a huge smile on her face. She looks super excited. I'm like, wow, someone else excited to talk about CCI with me. I was like, great, I can show you my data, no problem. And as I turn around, I just see the smile on her face turn to a big frown. She was so disappointed. I was like, can I help you? And she went, oh, I'm really sorry. I thought you were selling ice creams. And I was like, oh, yeah, I get it. I do get it. I did look like I was probably selling ice creams. That got me thinking. I was like, maybe we come up with some fun Ekahau flavored ice cream. So what about some AP Ricotta Association, Capacity Crunch, Hidden Node Honeycomb? I think that's my favorite. Roaming Raspberry. Maybe next time if we are doing that again. But then, the Ekahau Psychic, wow, what a step and leap forward this was for us as Wi-Fi professional engineers to be able to have a purpose-built measurement device with Wi-Fi radio, spectrum, hard drive in there, also its own batteries, not draw it from your laptop. This was such a game changer and made our life so much easier and better as Wi-Fi professionals. First of all, you could only survey with laptop and Psychic. And then later on, Ekahau announced on a webinar that you'd be able to collect data on the survey app with your iOS device. I remember I was on that webinar. As soon as the webinar finished, I went straight to the Apple website, bought the iPad instantly because I knew this was going to make my life so much easier and more mobile getting around collecting the data. And Ekahau, this was before I was at Ekahau, by the way. And the Ekahau, what I found is that they're always coming up with ways to make our lives easier and faster and more automated as Wi-Fi professionals. And by the way, all of the pictures and stuff you see in this is in my presentation. I went back through my camera roll for the last 10 years and found all of these pictures. And I remember this was my very first autopilot survey that I did. So I remember exactly where I was. I was walking around my phone, and I was like, "Oh my god!" I seen it on a webinar. I was like, "Yeah, how good is this going to work?" Actually, and then I remember testing it out, and I was like, "Wow, I've got so much free hands now. I can just walk around. I can open doors. I can drink a coffee. It's tracking my survey path." And I was so happy, excited just to walk around my phone. That very same survey I was doing later on, someone asked me, "Matt, are you collecting Pokemon?" So what I learned is no matter what we do, whether using a phone, tablet, laptop, people are inquisitive and they think what we're doing is very interesting and really cool. So whether they ask you if you're selling ice cream, if you're ghostbusting or collecting Pokemon, it's a good thing because it means what we're doing is interesting and people want to know about it. Then come the Psychic 2. The Psychic 2 was another massive step forward because we needed to capture data on 6 gigahertz, and we learned from the Psychic 1 about putting the micro USB, so USB-C on the top of the device, bigger battery, more antennas, more accuracy, more speed. Fantastic measurement device. And then Ekahau did it again. What was one of the biggest challenges I would always run into, and I'm sure you guys and girls do as well when you go to a site, is getting floor plans or getting up-to-date floor plans. And they were like, Ekahau was like, don't worry, hold my beer, I'll solve that for you. Here's a Just Go survey. You can just walk around, we'll build the floor plan for you, automatically track your survey path, create a floor plan for you, and you can just solve another issue that we were running into as engineers all the time. This was my very first time doing a Just Go survey in the Helsinki office. And then every time I go back, I like to do another Just Go survey. But for some reason, I'm not invited back anymore because Miko didn't lock the door. And apparently this is my fault for him not locking the door. So Just Go surveys are very, very fun. Very good way of collecting survey data. And I want to show you something cool. So I was having a chat with our product team, and I'm just going to be completely transparent and honest with you. They're very 50-50 if we're going to do this, and they're not sure if this is something that we should implement. And I was like, you know what? Let me ask the audience of Wi-Fi Design Day. I'm going to show you a concept, and you can tell me whether you think we should do this or not. So this is something else that we can do with the Just Go survey data to give you a bit more context about when you've walked around and the things that you've collected. So I'm just going to come over here. So what happens now is when you've got the Just Go survey, let me just move this, you get like the outline of the floor plan when you've walked around, but when you go in 3D, you don't really see anything. So what we can do now is overlay this data that's captured during your Just Go survey to give you a bit more context about the environment that you've walked around. So now you can kind of see the walls, the desks, the objects, you see the access points, and then you can also see the heat map as well. So you can then see what the actual data was that you looked like. And I was like, wow, I think this is pretty cool. But what do you guys think? Should we do it? You didn't seem that enthusiastic. Okay, product team, when you watch this back, that means that we should do it. And then what's really exciting is now being a part of Ookla for when we're bringing you another device to the market, which is called the Speed Test Pulse. If you've not seen or heard about this device, it's the new device that we're launching that is a very small device that can MagSafe to the back of your phone. It's got a Wi-Fi 7 radio, 2 antennas, 2 spatial streams, and an Ethernet port, and it can also actively associate to your network to run tests that get you information about your ISP, Internet Backhaul Services, and back. So we have 2 modes for this. We're calling it the active pulse, where you just run an on-the-spot test and get some diagnostics and information. And then we have, and you can then like send a report and things like that, and it's going to give you actionable insights about your environment. And then you have the continuous pulse, which will be coming later on this year, where you can leave it behind to get continuous data about your environment. We've got a live demo planned, but we're going to save that for Alan's presentation later on to show you a bit of an action. We'll do a test of this network, share it to my laptop so you can see it. Again, I was going back from my camera roll and I was like, you know what? There's no, this is self-proclaimed, by the way. There's no other audience that I know that's going to appreciate this more than you guys and girls. So I wanted to show you a few pictures from my camera roll from doing some surveys over the years. Because when you do a survey of Ekahau, it places a dot on the map for where the AP is. You walk into that room, you're like, where is this guy? Like, where is it? So these were some of my favorites. I walked into this room. I was like, okay, I had to get some guys to come and help me take off whatever this was, and just AP just left in there. Good place for an access point? Probably not so much. Okay, another one for you guys and girls. There's an AP in this picture. Where is it? Yeah, you guessed it, it's in the seat. Not even on its bracket, it's on the seat. And then I got called out to come and troubleshoot an area because apparently the Wi-Fi wasn't working too well. So I did a survey, looking around for the AP. Here's a metal cabinet. What's in the metal cabinet? I was scratching my head for a really, really long time because we used to get paid by like the day. So I was there for like 3 days trying to work this one out. I have no idea why the Wi-Fi doesn't work so well in here. So yeah, some fun gems I found for you, but some more fun gems. If anyone ever tries to tell you doing Wi-Fi surveys are not sexy, you're welcome. You can save this and show them later on. This was me back in the day doing a survey with a laptop that is quite literally, let me get the old zoom in on here, half my size. That's what I mean. Like, imagine carrying around that monster. Where's Espen? I see you. Only ever done autopilot surveys on your phone, right? I know. But thankfully, you've never had to do this. Then, here's me with my laptop and Psychic. And then, here's me with my iPad and Psychic. And if you look closely, you can actually see how much excitement is on my face as Ekahau innovated over the years, and I can now walk around with my iPad and my Psychic to collect data. It wasn't all bad. I did get to do some super cool surveys and go to some really cool venues. I know you can probably guess what these are, but I have to tell you about one story in particular from one of these sites that we was at. So I was there, again, with Matt Smith, and I was there with Mac as well, and this was a lovely venue, and we was in a point of the venue where there was a huge open space, and they said sometimes we'll get like the TV and media will come here. We have hundreds or thousands of devices, so got to really plan the Wi-Fi network. So we was looking around thinking, where can we mount some of these directional antennas? Is it going to be here? Is it going to be there? And I was stood here. Matt Smith was stood there, and then like Mac is kind of like he stood there. I'm short-sighted, I didn't have my glasses on, so I'm stood there like looking around. And all of a sudden I see this like guy come around the corner and start walking towards us. And I was like, who's this suave-looking guy like coming towards us? And then like as he got closer, I was like, oh my God, it's David Beckham. And I was like shaking to myself like, oh my God, it's David Beckham. But I was like, how can I tell Matt and Mac that David Beckham is walking towards us without him seeing me and going like, oh my God, it's like David Beckham. So I was like, oh my God, it's David Beckham. And they were like, what? I was like, oh my God, it's David Beckham. By this point, David is now stood behind me. Mac looks me straight in my eyes and goes, who the is David Beckham? He hears it, turns around, I am dying inside. I could not believe it. And then for the rest of the day, I just turned into the most giddy little fanboy because I've just seen David Beckham. That was super, super cool. Like, oh my God. And then, yeah, maybe we can educate Mac on who David Beckham is now. But yeah, unbelievable. So Ekahau AI Pro Online, I want to do a couple of like little demos around where we're going with our new core platform for designing and analyzing Wi-Fi networks. I'm sure a lot of you are quite familiar with Ekahau AI Pro Online. And actually, I just want to do a quick live demo. I just want to show you some features that I think are like super nice, super cool, that I think is going to help all of you guys and girls as well. So what I did last year, I don't know if, who was here last year? Great. So last year, I don't know if you remember, this is actually the theatre that we're in. And last year, I previewed a feature that we was bringing out to you called the elevated surface. So clearly, I'm on a higher stage here, and all of the tiers of the seats are going up and stuff like that. I previewed that was going to be coming, and then now you can see like the theatre here is really nicely built out in 3D. So you can see that we've built out the space there in 3D. So if I now plan to place like just a few access points, I'm just going to place a few of them. Some of the signal now is going to look good from like these ones over here. But this one over the back could look a bit funky, and why is that? If you go back into 3D, it's because basically it's like hitting the seat or underneath the seat. So what I can do now is if I grab these access points, you can now really get granular about the way that you design your Wi-Fi networks. If I move them up to 7 meters, now you see it starts to look a bit more normal, go back into 3D and stuff like that. But the thing is with our elevated surfaces, what you need to do currently, I'm going to delete these actually so you can see what I'm talking about a bit more. 1 second. So what I've had to do is we basically have to draw an elevated surface, and you draw each one of these like manually, and you define the thickness and the height, and that's what is like causing that increments. This is fine for a theatre that's got, I don't know, like 15 rows, but imagine if you're like a Greg or the Verizon team and stuff like that, they're doing stadiums where you've got hundreds, if not thousands of rows that you've got to go and draw. That could be quite a tedious and painful task. So what we're actually releasing very, very soon is something called auto stairs. So what you can see happening here is rather than having to draw every individual row, you can draw segments. You define the number of steps and tell it the increment, and then what it's going to go and do is actually going to do and build that for you and make it. Can you see that? Yeah. You make it and build it out for you as well, so you haven't got to manually go and do each one on its own. And you can also do ramps. So if you've got like slope falls, things like that. So that's a feature that's coming very soon that I think is going to be quite nice and help you, especially when you're building out more complex like theatres, stadiums, arenas, etc., etc. Okay. Next demo. To the windows, to the walls, to the next live demo. I know some of you were going there somewhere else with that song there. Maybe you'd know it, maybe you don't, but again, bad joke from me, never mind. So what we do at Ekahau that I think we do like really, really well is we look at ways that we can speed up and automate like slow and painful tasks for you. So I'm going to show you something in our production environment, and then I'm going to show you a comparison in our QA environment. So we have 3 different environments, guys, like dev, QA, production. So the new feature I'm going to show you is actually in QA, so it's very, very close to being launched and ready to come into production. But we can, let me just call this Wi-Fi Design Day demo. I'm just going to import a floor plan. So this is a PNG file. It's the Ekahau office, so nothing there to be able to get like the layers of the walls, etc., etc. You can get rid of the color, all nice and fine, whatever. I'm just going to scale it very quickly, and then what I wanted to show you is like we have this thing called auto wall detection. So when this is in the cloud, we have an AI that scans through the floor plan, and it looks at all of the walls on the floor. So what you can see right now, if I go to the wall, down here we have a wall detection running. And this will take, depending on the floor plan, 30, 60, 90 seconds, maybe sometimes a little bit longer. But we have an AI, it's going through all of the different, the walls, it's looking at what's a door, what's a window, what's a outer wall, what's an internal wall. And then once it's done, didn't take too long, right? And I can just hit place walls. All of the walls are now drawn and deployed for you, and it's done a really, really good job. You can look at it in 3D and see how well of a job it's done. It's done a really good job to start, and then there's, it's AI. There's a few things that we maybe need to go and tweak and improve, but overall, it's done a really nice, pretty good job. I think you would all agree. And that was pretty quick. But what we're launching into our QA environment, so I'm going to run that same project file again. Is we have a demo 2. Okay, so I'm going to just use the same floor plan for this example. Okay, get rid of the grayscale. We can crop it in a little bit. Very, very nice. Do a quick scale again. Dum, da, da, dum. Okay, and now when I hit finish, I just want to show you the difference in speed now for the auto wall detection, and also it's starting to pick up other walls. So now when I click on, it's already done it. So I don't know if you noticed that there's quite a big difference in speed, but also when you place the walls now, it's actually it's doing it a bit more accurately and understanding even the like elevators and stuff like that. And also, if you didn't notice, down by the scale, we now have windows. Before it was just brick walls down by the scale. So now you've got a proper wall and window system by the scale. So I think this is a nice feature that's going to save all of our users and you guys and girls in the room when you're using floor plans that are just PNG files to be able to speed up bringing in that floor plan and get you to a point where you can start designing Wi-Fi networks. So that was one thing. So yeah, it's about 10 times faster. It's a bit more accurate. You can also detect like the elevators and stuff like that. And we'll also do the stairs automatically once we've got that other feature that I showed you before. And then what else is coming soon into Ekahau that's going to be quite nice? Like when you do a survey of an environment, we can detect the vendor, we can pick up the AP name. But actually, this is really cool. This is going to be something that we can do, like where we combine that Ekahau and Ookla data, is we'll be able to give you a high certainty of degree of picking up the AP model. So when you are doing a survey, now when you walk around, we can combine the Ekahau and Ookla data set to take a look at that information we've got, and then also see like what is the AP model that you've surveyed before you just get that it's an Aruba AP, which is very helpful and handy if you ever plan like a network upgrade, you want to know what AP model they're going from to a new model AP. This is going to be a nice new feature that'll be coming very soon. And also, if you've ever used the AI assisted planner, when it comes to directional antennas and APs, it didn't necessarily make some of the smartest suggestions, but we have a new algorithm that's actually going to suggest when you're using a directional antenna to put the APs against the wall. So if you didn't see that, those like green dots that are highlighted there, it's making the suggestion to put the APs on the walls. So you can see like it's making some smarter decisions when it comes to the AI-assisted planning. And then yeah, I would get this a lot, like, oh yeah, that's cool, Matt, that's great, but that's like online. What about desktop, the application? Can we see this in the desktop soon? So I want to talk to you about something else that we're going to be bringing out very, very soon. Catchy name, and Amber Patrick, we might have to work on marketing a little bit here about Ekahau AI Pro Online Desktop, but just to give you a bit of a glimpse into what is going to be coming very, very soon, is we do have here a desktop version of Ekahau AI Pro Online. And if I open this up, the difference here is that I can now create a local project, or I can open a local project. So you'll be able to save your project files offline, and you can use Ekahau without touching anything to do with the cloud. So I'm going to open a project that I prepared earlier, which is a warehouse, and I didn't use any of the cloud features or functionality to do this. So I just want to show you some of the things that you can still do in the desktop app. And like what you can see here is I've come up with a design. I've got the walls, I've got the attenuation. You can see I've also got the elevated surfaces. So you can see that you can get very granular building out your 3D designs. And you can see all of the APs that I've placed, and you can like move them around, do whatever you want to do. And what the app will tell you is that you're in the local mode now. If you have an internet connection and you've got and you're using the desktop version, you will be able to do basically the exact same features that you can do in the online one. However, if you need to work in a completely offline mode, a local mode where the place that you work says you can't touch the cloud, or you're working on a customer project that they say, sorry, please don't use any cloud features, what you'll be able to see in the desktop is that anything that requires cloud will tell you that this is a cloud functionality. So anything of like the AI and automation, like the wall drawing stuff and things like that, the auto wall drawing, that is going to require cloud computing. So that will be a cloud feature. So you'll get warned and see that. But that's one of the big things that you've been asking for a lot recently. So I just wanted to give you a bit of a glimpse into what is going to be coming very soon with the desktop one, completely offline, local mode, and be able to save your project files, have them on your laptop. Not that excited? A little bit excited? That's pretty cool, right? Okay. This is quite like a proof of concept version of that, but I really wanted to give you guys and girls an insight into what's to come, because I know that this is really important for you all to have an idea of where we're going, and you can kind of still see the cool things that you can do. So just on the live demo. So we're probably gonna move to call it like Ekahau AI Pro 12 online or desktop, just so we've got a bit of clarity on what we're talking about there. And we're at the point in the presentation now where I'm going to be welcoming my good friend Dobius on stage. So Carol, can we have Dobius's walkout song, please?